This is Mark Bell from supertraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West, spitting out more free information as I do every single day. I got something to talk about, got something on my mind, got an announcement or two or three to make as well. 2 or 3 years ago, about 3 years ago, I guess, there were no products, none, not one product that was anything like my invention, the Sling Shot, from howmuchyoubench.net. And now, all of a sudden, some fakers and some copycatters and some fat asses have come up with what they think is their own idea. And that's real cute and that's real nice and everything. And good luck with everything. I wish you all the best. Anyway, there are some pieces of shit out there, and there isn't a whole lot of you can do about it except for to plow forward and to be positive about your own stuff. My slingshot is my product, my invention that I poured my heart and soul into, something I came up with free and independent of any thought from any other influence except for a bench shirt. So it was influenced by the powerlifting community in a lot of ways. It was also influenced by running into a lot of guys that were grizzled at the gym that say they used to do this, they used to do that. And I thought to myself, you know what? I wish these guys could stop saying that they used to do this and used to do that, and I wish they could still do it. And I wanted to provide a way for them to still do it, and I got it accomplished, and I did it before anybody else. So all you people out there, all you haters, I know you want to be me, but you're just going to have to hate me because you're not me. And that's just going to the way that it has to be. So fuck off. Anyway, we got questions to answer here at the Power Project, brought to you by howmuchyoubench.net, the Slingshot, and the only strength magazine in the world, thepowermagazine.com. Try saying you invented that, motherfuckers. Anyway, this question is about wrist control on the bench press. You know, wrist control, remember over the top? He flips the hat backwards, and he said it turns on a switch, and it makes him feel like a truck. Remember that movie? That movie was amazing. Anyway, we're talking about wrist control, as in wrist control, not as in whacking off, but as in arm wrestling. Oh, before I forget, I'm going to be on a show tomorrow. You go on the Super Training fan page. There's a link there. Jim McD put it up. Super Training fan page on Facebook. You can check it out. I'm going to be on some Crazy Dudes podcast tomorrow. There's a live feed that will go up tomorrow morning at 6:35 a.m. And then also it will then go to iTunes. And then also working on some other big things that I can't talk about because people will steal my ideas. That's just the way life is, I guess. A lot of dirtbags out there. You know who you are. Anyway, we were talking about wrist control. Oh, I forgot one more thing. Power Project Army, you guys are lucky. I have an email address that is new, so you can get easier access to me. I know a lot of you guys are asking questions at a frantic pace, and I can't always get to them. And part of the reason is that it's kind of mixed and blobbed in with all my other emails. And I got a handful of email accounts, and everything is all jumbled up. But now I got one just for you guys. So it's powerprojectarmy@yahoo.com. powerprojectarmy@yahoo.com. Email me any questions, any concerns about any of the types of lifts that you do, any diet stuff, anything you want to talk about, I will answer, or I'll try to answer. I can't get to everybody. It's impossible, but I will try. I wonder who's going to start up another power project and claim that that's their idea. Anyway, we were talking about wrist control, weren't we? And we're also talking about, whenever we're talking about the wrist and the bench press, we're always talking about it being, we want to try to have it neutral the best we can, but what happens is you get a big weight in your hand, the wrist starts to get cocked back, and when it's cocked back and you go to push through it, and you go to push all the way to the top, it makes it very difficult to try to lock anything out with a bent wrist like this. Usually your elbow will kick out like this as well. And it makes locking the weights out very difficult. Sometimes things like that happen overhead as well. When people go to do an overhead press, you'll see the weight is more into their fingers than it is into their fist. And so you want to try to always squeeze the barbell as hard as you can. That's rule number 1. That's going to help you a ton. Rule number 2, don't overtuck. Rule number 3 is don't start tucking too early. A lot of times people will take tucking and bending the wrist back as like the same motion. So they'll go from here and they'll go like this. And that's not what we're talking about when we're talking about tucking the elbows. We're not talking about bending the wrist back and getting the gay pterodactyl look at the bottom of the bench press and getting gay wrist. What we're looking for is a solid grip. Squeeze the barbell as hard as you can. If you remember to do that, a lot of other things are going to solve themselves on the bench press. So always remember to squeeze that barbell as hard as you can. Squeeze the barbell as hard as you can, and when you go to come down, kind of have a natural tuck to your elbow rather than tucking too early and getting into this position here. You don't want to fall into that position there. You will not be able to lock the weights out at the top. You might be able to come off your chest just fine, but trying to lock those weights out is going to be very difficult. So what else can we do? How else do we gain wrist control? Squeezing the barbells one way, don't overtuck, don't tuck too early. What's a couple other things we can do? Power Project Army, you guys listening out there? Well, if you were listening and paying attention to the Power Project Army, we know that strength solves everything. Make your forearms and wrists stronger. How do you want to train your forearms and wrists? It's up to you, man. Just do it in the privacy of your own home. No, on a more serious note, any sort of fat bar or fat grips are great. You can do fat grip, hammer curls, fat grip reverse curls, fat grip or fat bar deadlifts. Those are all going to work your grip. You might be thinking to yourself, I don't have a grip problem though. But if your wrist is acting funky like that, you probably do. You probably need more strength in your hands and in your extensors and in your flexors and all the little stuff that's going on in the wrist here. You could probably use all that. And remember these exercises back in the day, a little motorcycle movement going. Remember that movement? That's a good movement as well. Just rest your hand, on the end of a bench, or rest your hand on your knees and just lift up a dumbbell or a barbell. And then you can go the other way as well. You got, things like iron grippers, all these different, the Iron Grip Company, they make those hand grippers. Anything that's going to work your hands, your wrists. Holding weights, if you have hex dumbbells, that could be really good. Any sort of pinches can be good. Sorry to give you a million exercises, because I know when I give you a million of them that you won't do any. But what you do is, on your bench workout days, just do one forearm exercise and one grip exercise. Just pick one. Just Google it. You don't always have to hear it straight from me. There are some other sources out there. And, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the interwebs, the internet, is for more than just pornography. So, I think that nails down your question pretty good. Make sure you get on that. Another thing, before I forget, make sure you're doing some repetitions. Singles and stuff like that are great, but if you're testing your strength all the time, it's very hard to build. It's very hard to build kind of the smaller muscle groups and some of the smaller things that are going on. It's kind of hard to tap into those things with only doing maxes. And then plus, you won't go through those sticking points as many times when you're going with max weights as you would if you do a set of 3. So for example, on a set of 3, if you get up here and you got to recorrect yourself on rep number 2, you got to do so again on rep number 3. That's twice that you went through that range. And then maybe you do 3 sets of 3. So you'll have to battle through it multiple times on each set. All the haters want to be me. I'm fully aware of that. I'm Mark Bell, and that is it from supertraining.tv. Mwah!